Greensboro is a vast city in NC and the third largest city in NC. That has a lot of historical background, the headquarters of Wrangler and 107.5. It is home to many millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers who share their own thoughts about why they choose to live in such a diverse city and based on their own life experiences.
It's kind of smaller, but it's a lot more close-knit, so there's a lot more things for me to do with people instead of trying to go everywhere and travel far distances.
I believe going to college in Greensboro was a really good choice for me. It has a small, tight-knit community at the school while also being really close to a large city.
UG has a really nice department. It's really small, and so I'm able to do like research things as a freshman, which is really unheard of at other places, which is great. And it's like a really nice city. I'm from Raleigh, so it's a bit of a slower pace than Raleigh is because there's lots of like business types there, and they're kind of annoying when you walk in the street. So.
Millennials have stated that they have enjoyed their time at Greensboro and attending the university here at Greensboro. This chart shows that an overall score of a B+ would mean that those students who have attended UNCG have enjoyed being here on its campus and have enjoyed the environment around the city.
I feel like all the opportunities are based off a lot of connections, and I feel like a lot of people already have their connections because they lived here such a long time, and I just don't want to have to go through the struggle of trying to get people to like accept me.
No, I don't want to live in Greensboro just because like I would like to go to graduate school outside of state. So that and I probably want to go across like the sea for grad school maybe. So that's part of my plan, and Greensboro is not in Europe.
Definitely want to take my career outside of Greensboro. While it is a good-sized city, I definitely want to expand, and I'm a marketing major, so I think there'll be more opportunities for me in bigger and better cities.
A college education is often the ticket to the best career opportunities. For most graduates, that means moving to the nation's biggest metropolitan areas, boosting the intellectual capital that helps both those cities thrive. A lot of them mention how they felt like Greensboro won't have something for them job-wise and that there are more opportunities for growth elsewhere, mainly major metropolitan areas. In the year 2018, only 10% of the student entire population decided to stay and pursue a graduate degree at UNCG. 2.4 of those were English majors.
I chose Greensboro by accident, actually. My best friend wanted to take a tour here, and when I ended up getting here, I fell in love with it. I thought it was really beautiful. I love the campus, and I love the scenery. It was just a lot more historical looking, and I just like historical looking colleges.
I am living in Greensboro by choice to go to college here. I visited lots of schools, and I knew Greensboro was definitely the most like home, and that I would fit in here and belong the most here.
Overall, millennials enjoy the young and vibrant life Greensboro has to offer and all the activities it offers as well. But they want to take their careers outside of Greensboro to pursue the best opportunities for themselves and make more connections for their careers.
So it was complicated by needing to be close to aging relatives and providing familial support, but also because of the large multicultural community. I'm a person who really values diversity and being able to engage and become friends with people who have perspectives different from mine. I would say it started out for pure practicality. I needed to be close to my family because my grandfather was dying, but as I found an apartment, as I got to know all the grocery stores with international offerings, as I got to know people and get involved in the community, I found that I really like it here. Negative things are the gentrification that's happening, for example, in the Glenwood neighborhood, where people who have been there for many, many years have been forced, for lack of a better word, to move to other areas of town. There are also some factors of gentrification, like with pushing homeless folks, people experiencing homelessness, out of the downtown areas for business purposes. But at the same time, I think in the midst of that milieu, that context where people are experiencing some of those more negative aspects, organizers and folks in the community are paying attention to those things, and not only paying attention to them, but attempting to do something about it in a way that I find really positive and supportive for my reasoning for staying here. It's one thing for there to be social problems. You'll encounter that anywhere in the world, whether that's Greensboro or whether that's New York City. The difference for me is here, people pay attention and they take action on the things that they care about the most. It's a place that I didn't anticipate putting down roots, but I've found that I've been able to build queer family here in a way that I didn't anticipate, and in ways that I've really not had to the extent that I do here in other places. So it's become an extension of family. It's been a place for me to elaborate on my own identities, and in the same ways that I value living in other places where I am forced to look inward and examine myself and get rid of the things that don't work for me and reinforce those that I find most important. Greensboro is doing that for me too, so it's a kind of a two-way function. It's a place where I'm building family and building collective power with other people who share my values, but at the same time, I'm doing some really deep self-reflection and introspection here that I didn't anticipate. I'm thinking about like job security, and I know in my profession in particular, in education and academia, mobility is prioritized in ways that I don't think it necessarily is in other professions. Like most folks, when they complete a degree, when they look for a job, it's really hard to get a job in the university where you have completed that degree. So folks that I know who are of my same age range tend, if they want to advance in their careers, they have to move somewhere else.
Of all generations, Greensboro has the most Gen X population. This is due to the fact that the number of Gen X population is increasing, and because jobs in Greensboro are more readily available for their generation because the members are of an older age and have more experience in their fields. Gen X is known for being able to balance work and life and is known for the emerging adulthood in their generation.
Well, the primary reason I came and the reason I stayed is the job. I was studying to, launch a career in academia at the college level. And so once I was here, one thing led to another. It turned out that the colleagues I had at UNC Greensboro in the Religious Studies department at the time were really fantastic. It was a very vibrant program, attracted a lot of good students. The people were a lot of fun. They're very interesting, very smart. So I made close connections to my colleagues and got mentored a lot because I was still in graduate school at the time. So I started teaching, which I liked a lot. Found lots of things to do at UNCG that intrigued me, that were what I had wanted to do all my life, what I was preparing to do in graduate school. So I had a lot of opportunities on this campus to get involved in different things. It was much smaller 30 years ago, probably about half the size it is now. But it was a place that had a long history of people staying for a long time and of building careers that went in different directions over time. So it was a place that was open. And at least it was when I arrived. So I ended up staying. Greensboro has grown on me. It went from being a place I knew nothing about, had never heard of, was not planning to live in, came for a short one-year appointment, and one thing led to another, and I got more and more involved and have come to really appreciate and value the kind of city that Greensboro is in a lot of ways. I guess for me it's primarily the people, right? I happen to connect up with people that I really resonate with. I happen to fall in love here with someone who lived here. I happen to start a life here with my partner. And so those things I think are really the anchors. And then the rest of it came along. But the latter stages of my career, I can see retirement is closer, right, than what I talked about earlier, the sort of starting out. That was 30 years ago. So I'm at the end of my career. I'm middle-aged, going into elder. And so, as you grow and as your life unfolds, different things become important to you. And I guess at each stage of my life, Greensboro has offered things that have kept me here. Don't get me wrong, there are times I thought about leaving, but there are more things that keep me here than other things that would attract me away. The size of Greensboro is really important. It's still small enough to have a sense of civic identity. It's still small enough that there are opportunities to get involved in things. Since I've been here, the city has, I think, grown in its sense of itself as a city with an identity. I think that it has grown in terms of its amenities, particularly for people who are interested in the arts. It's got a very, very vibrant arts community. Like I said, it's got a very active civil rights and social justice community. The downtown has been steadily, progressively revitalized for the past probably 10, 15 years. And so I guess Greensboro has continued to evolve, it's continued to improve, it's continued to become a more interesting place with even more opportunities. Right now it means home, right? It's where my peeps are, it's where my partner is, it's where my house is. Years I spent a lot of time, moved here from Chicago, which I also absolutely adored, and spent a lot of time. I'm originally from upstate New York. I spent a lot of time in Boston, a lot of time in New York City, a lot of time in Chicago. So there's a part of myself that's definitely a big city person. Greensboro, like I said, has grown on me. I appreciate Greensboro. It's a livable city. It's an affordable city. It's a good city to build a life in. Extremely affordable. Right? And I think that when you're young and you're starting out and you want to build a life, you have to think very carefully about what's going to give you an opportunity to get your foot in the door. So Greensboro is a livable city and it's an affordable city. I think that's one thing. Second, I'd say for younger people, much more so than when I first arrived, it's much more dynamic and urban than it was. And there's, like I said, this art scene that's very, very vibrant. Great schools. There's a lot of young people in the city because there are 5 or 6 colleges here. So I think that also the nightlife, the active life, the young life, I think is an important, there's more and more people here who are from a younger generation. Yes, I do. So I'm gay, right? And I'm old. So in my time in Greensboro, I would say that for the most part, it's been a very safe environment for a gay white man, right? But I'm a white man, right? I'm educated, right? I live at the university. I live, very close to the university in, a kind of downtown neighborhood. So the Greensboro I can talk about, where I spend most of my time, where I do my grocery shopping, where I get my car fixed, where I walk in, when I'm taking a walk in the park, that sort of center city area tends to be my experience, is very accepting, is very tolerant, is very open. It's very safe.
The current generation is more active than generations in the past and has a more sophisticated style and wants options and choices in their homes. Whether they're selling the homes where they raise their children and heading to sunnier pastures, or staying put and redesigning to accommodate their retired lifestyle, boomers are making an impact on housing trends. In conclusion, though Greensboro has a young community, many choose not to stay, and with it mainly being populated by an older generation, it will continue to represent generations' ideals and values. It would make sense why a younger generation such as Millennials would not want to stay, but on the other hand, Greensboro won't become a progressive and forward-thinking area until it is invested in to represent those goals. For the theoretical readings, we thought Wood's standpoint would be the best fit because of his key points related to the interviewee standpoints in Greensboro, North Carolina. Those that follow are college students who are only here during the academic year are all in a group together. Longtime residents who have lived here most of their life in Greensboro are also individual grouped as they are share this in common. Generations decided to stay in Greensboro partially due to the close relationships they built with those around them, and the final standpoint with them who graduated from their respected colleges decided that they loved Greensboro so much that they decided to stay and get a job. And if people do not form many close relationships with fellow classmates, then I believe that they would be less likely to stay in Greensboro.
I'm Jake, and my job was comparing it to readings.
What were some impactful moments you came across during your job in the group project?
Just thinking about how in a couple years, like these decisions could come to me, and I have to think about like my people who influence me and whether or not I'll stay in Greensboro, and past decisions I've made and what is best for my future.
What was the process for you when doing the documentary?
I looked at all of the theoretical readings and tried to find at least 2 or 3 that fit it very well, and then I thought about experiences of people who live in Greensboro and people who come to Greensboro and why they may choose to stay or leave, and then try and get a good, clear view of what influences people in that aspect.
What are your thoughts on working with the group?
Working with groups is a whole lot easier than doing this by yourself because it would be a very large workload. So splitting it up and letting people do work towards their strength, I feel is a very good decision for this project, and I think it helped out overall.
Okay, my name is Amira, and my role was research.
Okay. What were some impactful moments you came across during your job in the group project?
Reflecting on our overall question and considering how much research I was doing, I was also considering the factors that would influence me later on in life too.
How was the process for you when doing the documentary?
I found it really easy, especially since I felt like we all kind of breezed through like choosing which components of the project we wanted to do, and we played to our strengths really nicely.
What are your thoughts on working with the group?
I really liked it. I felt like we all did like really well with each of our roles, and compared to other like groups I've been in, I thought we did really well.
Hi, my name is Star, and I also had a role in the readings.
Okay. What were some impactful moments you came across during your job in the group project?
Well, since I had the readings, I had to go back and see if I could like connect what was said in the readings to what was done in the actual project. But what I found impactful was like during the actual project, like all of these people who have like different stories, it was interesting to see like why they came and why they stayed, because sometimes like the person came here with no intention of staying, but then they stayed. So I found that impactful in like my journey, because I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to stay in Greensboro once I graduate. So.
Okay. How was the process for you when you were doing the documentary?
It was sort of kind of stressful because there was a lot of readings to go through, but in the end I got through it. So.
What are your thoughts on working with the group?
Oh, this group was great. Like everybody was like organized. They knew what they wanted to do. So this was a good group.
Okay. I'm Myra. I filmed and edited.
What were some of the impactful moments you came across during your job in the group project?
Some impactful moments was hearing everybody's stories and hearing where everybody came from and why they live in Greensboro and why they chose to live in Greensboro, and not just because like the millennials here are from college, but also like some of the Gen X and the baby boomers of like why they chose to live here.
How was the process for you when doing the documentary?
The process was good. For me, I guess just editing and filming is just sort of a strong point for me. So I think that the process was fairly okay. We all did our jobs and did what we were supposed to do.
What are some of your thoughts on working with the group?
Working with the group was good. I think that we all did our jobs like we needed to, and did a group project that was really impactful to other people and people in Greensboro, and for us in general, because we also live in Greensboro. So yeah.
What were some impactful moments you came across during your job in the group project?
One of the most impactful moments I can name is when me and Myra had interviewed Miss Catherine during our Gen X, and she just gave very relatable answers to the questions that we asked. So that was very impactful.
How was the process for you when doing the documentary?
It was very stressful at first because I was juggling other classes, exams, and just personal life in general. But when I actually got the time to put my input in and work with the group members I got, it was actually a good process and fun.
What are your thoughts on working with the group?
They're very supportive. I could not have asked for any other group members. They understood they were trying to, you know, work around everything that I was going through, and I could definitely say that I wouldn't ask for another group member or team.